Let me start first by recognizing and thanking Dr. Rudy Almasi, Chair of the Search Committee. Rudy, would you please stand and be recognized? Rudy, I'm grateful for your leadership. You did a great job on this task, and as you know, this was a big and important task for us. The search was unbelievably well run, and obviously, I think we have a great result. Just so you know, in this room, Dean Almasi is serving his third term as interim dean of the Eberly College of Arts and Sciences. Did I get... Do we go for 4? He's an esteemed professor of English who has taught literally thousands of students to love the works of William Shakespeare. As Associate Dean for the College Development Program, he helped to secure millions of dollars in endowments for the college. And through participation in important events, Rudy, just like this one, through many committees and searches such as this, he has demonstrated his loyalty and dedication to this university. So, Rudy, thank you. Personally, I want to thank you very much for all the work you put into this. Also want to thank the Search Committee. We had 14 highly respected individuals, faculty members, staff members, students, deans, researchers, administrators, and members of the Provost office. They spent countless hours, lots and lots of hours, I know, identifying a great group of candidates. And we did have a significant number of candidates who applied, and I think we had 3 great finalists who came to the campus. And as I said with a previous announcement, they did this all in addition to the work they were already doing, the classes they were already teaching, the work they did all day and every day, and all the things that you do. So we appreciate those in this room who volunteered for this important initiative. We appreciate it. Will the members of the Search Committee please stand so we can thank you. You did a great job. You did a great job. Finally, I want to thank a special person, Dr. Jessica Thomas from the Provost office, who did a great job representing the institution and coordinating the search. In fact, I liked the job she did on the presidential search, so we asked her to do another one. Jessica, are you out there? Can you please stand so we can thank you? And I understand that Jessica actually gave up a trip abroad to be here and do this. So we make a lot of sacrifices, but we do it for this institution. And again, Jessica, I really appreciate that you did that. And again, we did it and got a great result. I'd like to ask Dean Almasi to come up and share just a few remarks about the search process. Rudy?
It was my pleasure and indeed honor to chair the search for the next WVU Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. I too want to salute the members of the Search Committee who gave so unselfishly and enthusiastically of their time and talent during the summer months. As the President already mentioned, these individuals come from different areas across our university community, but they were united in the common purpose of identifying and recruiting an outstanding academic leader to join the leadership team which President Clements is assembling. What I'd like to do is name the members of the search committee as well as their affiliation so you can have a sense of how broad the representation across the community was. Nigel Clark, Department of Mechanical and Aerospace Engineering. Bojan Kubik, Department of Computer Science and Electrical Engineering. Alan Ducketman, Department of Community Medicine. Mike Ellington, who's here, Student Affairs. Barbara Foster, Department of Chemistry. Donald Hall, Department of English. Kyle Martin, Division of Forestry. Georgia Narsavage, School of Nursing. Whitney Peters, Student Government. Kurt Peterson, Research and Economic Development. Leslie Tower, Division of Social Work and Division of Public Administration. Narva Weiss, Administration and Finance, and C.B. Wilson, Office of the Provost. Because of the dedication and concern, indeed the good judgment and expertise of these individuals, the process went smoothly. We searched for a seasoned academic administrator who had hands-on experience with the research mission of a university like WVU, who had an understanding of the mission of land-grant institutions, and who had the experience and vision to help lead a student-centered university through the challenges of tomorrow. It is good to say that the search was successfully concluded with the announcement today of Provost-designate Wheatley. We all look forward to working closely with her to advance the mission of West Virginia University and to continue to create and indeed enhance the academic community, which will surely redouble its efforts in teaching and research. And of course, I too would be remiss if I did not say a special word of appreciation to and for Dr. Jessica Thomas, Special Assistant to the Provost. Jessica coordinated all of the efforts and the efforts of so many other in this adventure, efficiently and effectively with the joy of service always in her dealings. And as Horace would say, Sicitur ad astra, Jessica, such is the way to immortal fame. The position was advertised widely. We attracted more than 70 applicants, and from these there were identified 13 individuals for preliminary interviews, and then the 3 finalists who visited our campus shared with us their vision and interacted with the many of you who are here. It was gratifying to see that throughout the search, especially in talking with a variety of people across the nation, WVU had a strong reputation. People understood that we were on the move and that this appointment of a new provost was being made at a critical, exciting, and some might even say defining moment in our history. And so many people wished WVU well as we continued our extraordinary work within and for the state of West Virginia. So I'd like to thank President Clements for his confidence that he has shown in the committee and in the process, and we wish you and Dr. Wheatley a sure measure of energy and wisdom for the months and years ahead.
Thank you, Rudy. Another person I want to recognize for the time she spent with the candidates during the process is Carolyn Long, chair of the WVU Board of Governors. Carolyn is someone, I know you know this, who is unbelievably dedicated to this university. She donates and dedicates an enormous amount of time in supporting the work of what we do in this room. She is a wonderful and dedicated chair of the board. She cares very deeply about our alma mater, and she knows firsthand how much we mean to this great state. Chairwoman Long, please accept our thanks for all you do. Will you please help me welcome our chair of the board to say a few words?
Thank you, and as always, they have given me something I can use, and I never use it, so I know that there are days they wonder why they even bother to put it on paper. But I want to tell you what an exciting day this is, and we also have a lovely lady in the front row that the President didn't introduce at this point, but we want to make sure we welcome our First Lady. Beth is with us today, and we're so glad to have you here. It brings back memories, which will tell my age, of this building. And the lady the building is named for was the Dean of Women when I was here at school. So it just kind of brings all of it back together. And here we are today to, again, add another wonderful person to this team that we are bringing to Morgantown. Jim, Dr. Calenta, and now Michele. We are just thrilled. I had the honor of eating lunch with this wonderful family, so I hope not only are we going to welcome her, but this wonderful family, and it's delightful to get to know all of you very much. Again, this appointment will continue to build on a great administrative team that is focused on collaboration, partnership, and committed to innovation. I want to commend again the search committee and our chairman of the search and Jessica. And of course, Jessica and I worked very closely in another little search we had. And, and so I want to thank you for your time and your efforts, because I really do know how long it takes and what an effort is, but you have done a magnificent job. This is a wonderful day to be a Mountaineer, as President Clements has said, because again, we are adding a third member of this dynamic, trio now. And I will tell you that I did tell President Clemens that if he keeps hiring people with all of this energy, I have to trade the high heels in for Nikes. So, that being said, I'm more than willing to do that, okay? It is wonderful to have you here, and welcome to West Virginia, and especially welcome to West Virginia University, the most magnificent place you will have ever served. Thank you.
Carolyn, thank you for those very kind and thoughtful words. I want to take just a minute to extend a very, very special thank you, and all of you in the room need to help me with this one, to Dr. E. Jane Martin, who has been serving as interim vice president and provost for the past year and a half. Jane, would you please stand so we can thank you? Jane and I were at a few events this morning and earlier today, and every time I see her, the words rock solid come into my mind. And I told her that at the last event. She's been rock solid for the last year and a half. That's just what we needed. So, Jane, thank you on behalf of the institution. As you know, Dr. Martin previously served as dean of the WVU School of Nursing for 15 years and also served as senior advisor to the vice president for health sciences. She is a graduate of WVU and has given her heart and soul to this university for many, many years. I do know in my discussions with her, it is very true that she always keeps the students, the staff, and the faculty's best interests in mind as she goes about her work and her decision making. And Jane, personally, it's been great to work with you, and I thank you for all you've done for this institution. I also want to thank all of you that are here with us today and those that are watching via webcast, especially those from our academic division. This has been an important search process for you. You know, the academic division has a budget of over $500 million. And Michele, you have over 4,000 employees in the academic division to work with. It's a big team, but a great team, and a highly dedicated team. The deans, chairs, faculty, staff in their colleges, those in extension service, information technology, international education, undergraduate education, graduate education, the Honors College, libraries, McNair Scholars Program, and ROTC, Civic Engagement, the Advising Center, and the divisional campuses. You've got a lot of people to work with. All right, finally, I want to thank all of you who took time to attend the open forums. And I know we had really good turnout. I appreciate that you took time to interview the candidates. Again, I think we had great finalists. And I appreciate the feedback that you provided. The feedback was very helpful. And I said this last time we had an announcement like this, I read every comment. I literally read every single comment that was submitted. And I made lots of calls, personal phone calls. Those that were on the reference list, those that were off the reference list. People at Michele's university, people at other universities. Anybody I thought that knew anything about her, I made calls. And I heard nothing but good things. I'm going to share some of those comments with you. Now for the good stuff. Now's the time we get to officially welcome Dr. Michele Wheatley as WVU's next provost and vice president for academic affairs. I want to tell you a sample. These are literally the comments that I heard, sample of the comments that I heard about Dr. Wheatley. She is a tremendous talent. She is a great role model on the campus. She sets high expectations for herself and others and raises people to new levels. She is respected across the board. She is a wonderful collaborator. She values interdisciplinary work. She has high ethical standards. She has been a breath of fresh air. That was a kind of a neat one. She is very passionate about making a difference, and that one really stayed with me. I liked when I heard that. She is very respected by her chairs and the faculty. She has a heart of gold. She has a great sense of humor. That I know is true. Having had dinner with you, I know that is true. You have a great sense of humor. And she is absolutely ready to be a provost. And the last one, quote, she is a star. Those were comments about you, Michele. In my discussions with Michele, I know that she's very excited, very passionate about building this or joining this team. She understands shared responsibility and accountability and very much wants to be with us here in Morgantown. Dr. Wheatley grew up in London, started her career in the U.S. as a faculty member and a researcher at a leading land-grant institution, the University of Florida. Over the years, she has been an accomplished faculty member, a department chair, and a dean. Dr. Wheatley has experience in increasing research investments in her college, and personally, she served as the PI, principal investigator, or co-PI, on approximately $22 million and 24 years of continuing National Science Foundation funding. That's basically unheard of, 24 straight years and $22 million in funding. She has written or contributed to more than 100 referee journal articles and book chapters. She has taught biology, marine and animal physiology, women in science, and human-computer interaction. Now, we got to talk about that one, because I taught human-computer interaction. All right, that's just a few of the courses she has taught. Under her leadership, graduate enrollment at Wright State's College of Science and Mathematics increased by 68%, and advising was revamped. She also increased accessibility in laboratories through a program called Creating Laboratory Access for Science Students, CLASS, and recently launched an NSF-funded Regional Alliance program for students with disabilities. She did this in partnership with The Ohio State University. She has also been actively involved in NSF programs to increase participation in the advancement of women and minorities in science and engineering. At Wright State, she worked closely with the medical school. She worked closely with the College of Engineering. She worked closely with the College of Education on multidisciplinary projects and partnerships, all very important to us here. She cares deeply about her students, and she has maintained strong connections with them even in her administrative roles. I believe personally she's a perfect fit for us. I think she's going to do a wonderful job as our next provost, and that she will do a great job joining this university. Will you please help me welcome our next provost, Dr. Wheatley.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, before I give her the microphone, I'm going to give her a couple gifts. She is now a mountaineer.
Thank you.
And a visor.
Okay, help me with this.
It's all yours.
Well, I knew this was coming. They warned me. And actually, they gave me a choice between the baseball cap and the visor. And so I thought about this. All the women in the audience will know the first thing you think about is the outfit and the hairstyle. So I thought, maybe visor, not baseball cap. What do you think? Okay, so the first thing I'd like to do is have you all come over here and meet the family. So please, all rise. Who'd like to model this? Hopefully the next mountaineer. Okay. Okay, first I'd like to introduce my beloved, my friend, my husband of 22 years, Stan Smith. He's not the tennis player, but his name is Stan Smith. We've had a long journey together through life, and I think he's going to love this area. His passion is riding vintage European motorcycles, and so it didn't take much to entice him away from the cornfields of Ohio to these West Virginia country roads. Stan is a person of eclectic interests. Actually, the day after I dropped my bombshell at home about my change in employment status, he said, well, you know what? I'm going to change my employment too. He's decided that he's going to retire for a second time. He's going to offload his .com, and he's going to invest himself 100% of his time in making sure that our family transitions to this region. So I think that's admirable. Now, 22 years ago, when we were married, during our marriage ceremony, we are probably one of the few couples, maybe in the world, who had a reading from the book by Robert Pirsig, Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. And for those of you, it is a sacred text, and for those of you who may not know it, It's really talking about a metaphor for life, quality, and values based on riding and maintaining motorcycles. And there are some wonderful quotes from that book. Things like, it's the side of the mountain that maintains life, not the top. The Zen you have at the top of the mountain is the Zen you take up there with you. And it talks also about the art and science of climbing the mountain. So I think it's just strangely poignant that 22 years later, we are here. We've built our marriage on the metaphor of the mountain climb, and we both have mountains to climb here because now we're mountaineers. Do you want to take the hand? Okay, number one son. We call him our number one favorite son. We only have one son. This is also Stan Smith, but we call him Skip. And Skip is right now an entering student at my current institution, and he's majoring in accounting and minoring in vocal performance. So by day, he's working in the Terahertz Laser Lab, and by night, he's a singer-songwriter and does gigs in Starbucks. So I'm hoping you have Starbucks here. That's Skip for you. All right, number one daughter is Reva Smith. And these two are twins. And now I guess I've given away my pet question, which one do you think is older? Because it's Reva. She's 15 minutes older, and she reminds us about that every so often. Right, Beth? Anyway, they're both in the 10th grade at Beaver Creek High School. And Reva is a swimmer, and she's also been working as a lifeguard this summer. And then we have 15 minutes younger, our precious, the baby of the family, Mari Smith. She's also in the 10th grade, and she enjoys computer, and she enjoys running tech crew for the plays at school. And clearly, you know, for these girls, they have to make a transition in the 10th grade to a new town. So if any of you out there have 10th grade daughters, not sons, we don't want the boys knocking, we are actually interested in maybe finding them some Facebook friends. Now, Dad and I played a rather cruel trick on them this week because even though we knew the outcome of the search, we didn't want to share it because we had an episode over the summer where something that should have been kept a secret got onto Facebook, and then we didn't really want to scoop Jim's big announcement today. So really, they're still in shock. They've only known for about 24 hours that we are on the move, and so anything you can do to help my family transition here, I would be so appreciative. So sit down, guys. Thank you. You can tell from my enthusiasm that I'm very interested in work-life balance. My family means everything to me, and we're very excited about joining your community and getting to know all your families. So that's the family part. Wow, what a week it's been. It's almost difficult for me to find words to express my appreciation to all of you, but I do have some formal remarks that I have prepared. President Clemens, Chairwoman Long, Dean of the Search Committee, Dean Rudy Almazy, the members of the Search Committee, and all the faculty, staff, students, and alumni of West Virginia University, members of the community, I am humbled at the trust and confidence you have placed in me through this process. And I actually, right now, I have just a strange mixture of feelings running through me. I'm running on adrenaline, and on the one hand, I'm tremendously excited and filled with exuberance. But of course, there's always that fear factor, the idea of really stepping up to the plate and moving to new territory in a larger institution with more responsibility. And so what it does, it reminds you of other times in your life when you've sort of been a little bit cautious about taking a gargantuan step. When I was here at one of my forums, I talked a little bit about a crucible event in my life. When I was 11, I obtained entrance into an all-girls grammar school in North London, and that school subsequently changed the course of my life. And to be honest with you, it was intimidating because a lot of the girls came from very affluent backgrounds. They had ponies. They had private tennis lessons. Some of them even were dropped off at school in a chauffeur-driven Rolls Royce. And I arrived home that first day, and, you know, I was kind of overwhelmed. And my mother, who was a very pragmatic person, pulled me aside and she said, "Michele, class has nothing to do with money or social standing. Class has everything to do with how you conduct and carry yourself and how you treat other people. And I can tell you unequivocally, having participated in this search process over this past summer, West Virginia University is a class act. If you didn't hear that, West Virginia University is a class act. From the very first phone call from Rudy Almazi to invite me to join the search upon the recommendation of somebody who knew me well, who may be watching on the webcast, and I thank her eternally for this opportunity. It would never have occurred to me. To all of the conversations on email with Jessica, the logistics of this search. You guys didn't need a search firm. They could be their own search firm. I mean, this is a place where you have poise, everybody is articulate, and more importantly, you are passionate about this place and the great state of West Virginia. Then, of course, I came to the airport interviews, and I got to meet a broader cross-section of the community and the campus constituency. Every person spoke glowingly about this place. Everybody treated me. I mean, I've never been treated like this before. It's been a wonderful experience. And so I know this place is different. Now, of course, I've been in North America for 30 years working at some very prestigious institutions, and so I know West Virginia University by reputation and renown. In fact, flog me now, I'll fess up, I have poached outstanding faculty from your institution.
But never again.
But in order to make the balance sheet work, we have also sent you outstanding students because of the reputation of your academic programs. One thing the kids don't know is that they were all delivered by a West Virginia University grad. You don't know that yet. And so there have been all these interesting tendrils that lead me to this place. It's a really, really unique place. And I have thoroughly enjoyed being in this search. Now, of course, I came onto campus a couple of times, and I saw very impressive things. I saw some of your historic buildings. Bear in mind, I was born and raised in central London, and so I love these kinds of buildings. They just inspire me. So I've enjoyed visiting those, and of course, I've seen at the other end of the spectrum, I've seen some of your modern buildings, your research facilities. I've met all of your faculty and staff and been very impressed. But for me, the interest in this position was sealed at an informal lunch meeting on the second day of the interview. Some of you were there. We had it in a back dining room in the mountain lair. And it was really kind of downtime. We had representatives of the various campus constituents who were invited out to meet me for lunch. And during the course of that conversation, we started talking about what it was to be a West Virginian. Carolyn Long talked about her experiences. Whitney Peters from Student Government talked about hers. Dixie Martinelli, are you here, Dixie? Talked about her experiences, and Joe Morrow. And I started to get a feel for who the West Virginians are. And what I heard was a very interesting set of traits. First, that West Virginians have enormous pride in the state of West Virginia. But this pride is tempered by personal humility. Many of the folks come from fairly humble origins, and I'm sure those of you who know more about me know that that's very much the path I have trodden myself. And so I decided that the goodness of fit was less about the litany of accomplishments that I have that have been read and reported in the literature. It has less to do with what's in the CV, all the publications, all the funding, all the administrative experience. It has more to do with the person that I am. Because whilst I have great pride in everything that I've accomplished, I have great pride in the institutions I've served, I still remember where I came from, how I started, and I consider myself to be a down-to-earth, back-to-basics, ordinary human being. And interestingly, as I left that meeting and I thought, this is a good match, not because of all the stuff that you're interested in, Jim, but because of who I am. This is a great place where I could feel comfortable. And interestingly, the more I've gotten to know Jim, I do believe that pride tempered with personal humility is actually going to be a trademark of President Clement's administration. And I'm going to tell you one of the conversations that he and I had recently, if you don't mind me divulging that. So he calls me a few days ago, and of course, he was calling to tell me that he'd selected me for this position. And by the time I dragged myself down off the ceiling, we started a back and forth. And we had a very nice conversation. And towards the end of that conversation, it seemed like it was coming to a natural conclusion. And so I felt that something had to be said on my part. And so I said to him, you may remember this, Jim, I said, Jim, I pledge to do everything within my power not to disappoint you. And instantaneously, he turns this right around and he said, you know what, Michele? I'm going to do everything in my capability not to disappoint you. And I thought, wow, how cool is that? And, that idea that there's a shared commitment to accountability, responsibility, it was just so refreshing. I've never been in an environment like that. It was just very, very thrilling to me. Haven't had the good fortune yet to meet Chris Colenda, except on the telephone. But from what I saw of his webcast, I think, the third person in the trio is also very much carved out of the same mold. I mean, people, it's not about us, it's about you. And we're here to try and serve you and make good decisions so this institution can actually move ahead and do great things for West Virginia, for the citizens of West Virginia. So as I stand in front of you today, I am just so humbled and I am so completely honored that you would select me to become your new provost and chief academic officer. I realize this is a massive responsibility. I will serve you to the best of my capability. And as I accept this responsibility, I do it remembering a great-grandmother who could neither read nor write, a grandmother who habitually pawned her wedding ring on Thursday night and then redeemed it on Friday evening when grandfather's pay packet came into the house, and a mother who died prematurely of breast cancer and was unable to ever see what a higher education could do for her children, but who taught us everything we needed to know about true class. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's get to work.
Congratulations.
Looking forward to working.
Working with you.
Congratulations.
Wow. She's good. Wow, I'm ready. Let's go. She said a couple things in there that really stayed with me. You talked about this being a great place. You talked about the fit. You talked about we're here to serve, and we are. And we've got a big job and a lot of responsibility. But I can tell you, and we've talked about this, I came in also with a family. My wife just had to slip out to take one of my twins to the dentist. But my concern was similar to yours. I wanted to make sure that people reached out to my family. And I can tell you, Michele, in ways you will never imagine, this town will gather behind you. They will make you feel welcome, and you will love being here, and your children will as well. So for that, I also thank the people in this university, in this town. I can tell you this. The day I signed my contract and started, the transition starts. You will instantly feel that mountaineer pride. And I want everybody in here to know Provost Wheatley will officially start January the 1st, but she will be back and forth many times over the next couple months. I would like to ask Stan and the kids to come up for just a minute because we have gifts for you as well. I'm hoping I get this right. I don't want to mess it up. Last but not least. Now, again, let me thank all of you for being here. We have a short little reception. If you'd like to stay and meet Provost Wheatley and her family, we'd love that. Thank you again for being here, and as always, it is a great day to be a Mountaineer. Thank you.